Hello and welcome back to another video. Today we're taking a look at something I haven't actually done for a while. We'll do a little replay analysis. This is the best game of the most recent weekend I put out, and we'll do a little disclaimer up front. I meant for Team of the Season to put out so many player reviews of all these Mateos and Fry Gangs and players like that. I meant to continue with the gameplay uploads and all, and it's just been like they put out the one patch and the game's been worse, and the gameplay has been so inconsistent. The Team of the Season itself is just a whole mess. I am sorry the gameplay uploads have been so inconsistent. We'll try to get back onto it here. Shapeshifters is slightly better. I'm not quite sure, I am currently part of the way through the Shapeshifters weekend league, and I've done pretty well, so it's been at least good now, but a lot of Team of the Season was just no fun for me, so we're going to try to show off, I think, my opponent's team here. The best game I've played for a while. Now, this isn't, like, the most fun game, this isn't the flashiest game, this is the most important. And I want to show this one off because there's a lot of important concepts in here in terms of how to beat the opponents that just normally overwhelm you with the press, or just tactically your team doesn't make the same runs against them as, your team makes against other teams. Whether that's the offside press or if the opponent's using the aggressive defending tactic, high press, or they're just using, maybe this team uses holding CDMs instead of deep lying CDMs or something like that. Whatever it is, it throws things off pretty significantly. To go through my team real quick, we are back in the 4-2-3-1 wide. We're playing against that 4-2-1-3. And we're looking at the two fullbacks who are staying back. There's one CDM who stays back and one CDM who gets forward. So it's kind of 5 on offense, 5 on defense. And we're getting forward here in Senior. And this is what you're going to see a lot of. This is a very important first goal. We get pretty lucky. We'll go through this really briefly. This isn't what I want to talk about. Although, recently it's been tiki-taka that's been the most important thing, so I've got it on players all over the pitch here. Insignia's got the base, Atik's got the plus, and just one pass and an easy finish. So that's just utilization of the playstyle. Tiki-taka is something that I'm going to be a massive advocate for. I've got the plus version on every single player here in the front 6, aside from Insignia, who's only got the base. So tiki-taka is just about being my favorite playstyle up there with press proven right now. Don't know what that was from the opponent. Don't know why they're just punting the ball out. But yeah, we're going to take a look at situations like this, where I just feel like my movement is significantly hampered by whatever the opponent's doing. And there's going to be a lot of turning back and a lot of trying to drag them out of position. So I want to go through that. We will talk about kind of the energy it takes to play this. I'll do that more in the second half. And I'm going to try to go through this quickly. Can I actually? You can do the hold to fast forward. It's going to be nice to know. I'm not going to go through my own defending in this match, maybe 1 or 2 clips, but not too much. But this is kind of what I want to talk about. So we're taking a look at the opponent's setup, and they're in about the right formation. Their CDMs are a little bit off, staggered instead of a flat line there. But the opponent's being aggressive with his Rakitic here, and that's what I'm trying to take advantage of. You see that shift? That's why I'm waiting here. The opponent's probably doing second man press, holding R1 to pull the player forward. Or maybe they just switch over and that run continues happening. Either way, this is what I'm looking for a lot. As I'm trying to get forward, Messi's dropped off into space. I would have Quarto on the overlap. I mean, that's an easy enough route to go. But I don't want to rely on that the whole game. I get kind of bored just doing the fullback, the overlaps of the fullbacks and all that. It does leave you a little exposed for the counter, of course. It is something I do a lot. I don't want to do it all the time. Is there anything else happening here, though? Insignia and Messi both dropped off. I'm not getting a run from Neymar. He's surrounded by 3 players. And Atik's... This movement I hate. Right? Because he's just running offside. He's running with just, I don't have this... He hasn't sized a plus in 99 passing, and he's left-footed. I might be able to play this. But he's offside immediately. So it's really tricky to get that one. I hate that run. Because what you want from this run is to actually, pull somebody out of position. If he's dragging, let's say, this center back out, and then Neymar makes a run, it's different. But what Atik should actually be doing as, this is not what EA do, but as a better coding for the AI, if he makes this run here, maybe he drags the center back off this way, and then we open a big gap here that Neymar can run into, that's one thing, right? But now we're taking a look at this that does literally nothing for the team. So I've got nothing going on. And when my team's not making movement for me, I have to move the opponent. That's a key, critical thing. If that's all you're going to take away from this, I've done my job. In games like this, if Messi's making this run, if Pedri's making a run, if somebody's grabbing an opponent and dragging them out of position and doing something, accomplishing literally anything, then it's fine. But any of these passes I make, I'm just going to get pressed. Aside maybe Messi, he's in a pocket of space there, but anybody else, it's just, I'm going to get the ball there, I'm going to get sprinted down. And so what's happening here is I'm just trying to make sure that as I do look to get the ball forward, they're not in a set defensive position, and they don't have all the numbers I want. So I've turned them from that back 6 into a back 5 here, and all it takes is that little hesitation with Fred. I've got the pass to Insigne here technically. He's got press proven, so he might take it. He doesn't have first touch though, so maybe not. He's not really in a pocket, and a lot of my other options have closed down. I just wait. Now he's dragged out. Now it's going to be 3 additional seconds before the CDM gets back. He's dragged his other CDM out, so I've got space up here. Now that's a poor decision. This probably should have gone to Pedri here. I can press L1 on him, get him to make a run up there, and then Pedri's got all the passing he needs to get it back down. We could do something like that, but that's the crux of what we're going to cover here for this video, because what this guy does is very aggressive with the pressing. He's a good presser, but he's very aggressive. And so, again, as we get forward, we'll want to cover that kind of stuff there. I trust my AI track back enough with stones. We're going to have that covered. But it's the same thing. And this is why having the right players, the right body types, the right play styles with the passing pluses or minuses and press proven plus or press proven minus on every single one of these players as well. Press proven and tiki-taka being the main things here. But you'll just note it, this is the press I'm talking about. The opponent's shape is at the halfway line. My striker's not doing anything. My cam is completely inaccessible. This run is not getting him into space and not opening space for anybody else. And Pedri just sits here. So the runs being made were either Neymar or we've got the left back, Ona Batil, making an overlap. Now he might have the other side of the pitch kind of open again as well. Although Messi runs away. Man. Also, I should apologize. I'm sorry we're having to review a game with lines on the pitch, but I can't believe this is allowed in Foot Champs. This is an important one. This is a 10-0 game, so it's not like an easy opponent either. We're doing the same thing here. If I get forward, if I get it to a teak, literally the only thing is try to play that first time through to Neymar, which isn't my style. Neymar doesn't have the pace for that either. And then even if I do get forward with them too, it's him, and then there's this little 10-yard gap between them and the rest of my team. So it's going to take a while for these players to also come up and support. So I'm just kind of attacking 1-on-4 or 2-on-4 for a while. It's not worth getting up here. There's nothing going on. But do I have anything else? Well, the overlap's happening. I can't make this pass yet. And it's covered. Nobody else is moving around. So it's just this waiting game of, okay, I've delayed, and then I've dragged his cam out, and then I've opened up space. And there's that aggressive press we're talking about, because I'm noticing the type of opponent this guy is. He's dragged Frankie de Jong out there. Now that might open up a gap for us. He's dragged a couple players around. We've got a little bit of space. Now they're back settled into position. Well, what am I going to be able to do from here? We're probably just looking to hold on to it and shift it back, and there we go. This is exactly what I'm talking about. This is why I want to cover this video. Because I've got nothing I can accomplish here. Messi's kind of in a pocket, and then he's maybe is, maybe not. It's kind of a little tough to get it to him. Ona, you've got to deal with the first touch here. She's just barely onside. I don't really trust the first touch to not get closed down by Dumfries. Do I have anything else going on? There's no runs. I don't really have the switch on. We just hold it. And again, what we've done, we've taken Rakitic. They're in this correct shape. Now they're not. He's come all the way out of position. Again, they go from that. It's almost a back 7. With Zidane deep enough sometimes as that cam defending, it's almost that back 7. But that back 6, we all know this year, there's back 4 and those 2 CDMs. It's so hard to attack against. Now it's just the 1. And I'm going to have, it's going to go from no movement from me to, wow, I'm actually going to be able to get in between the CDMs and the center backs, and look what we can accomplish from it. There we go. That's what we're here to talk about, right? Because the thing about those CDMs is if you allow them to get back into shape, and if I'm just attacking them as it is, when they're all set up for, you know what it is, it's this, and we'll call this a rhombus, I guess, trapezoid, whatever. We'll call this, their standard back 6 shape, right? If I'm just trying to attack against that all game, I'm not really going to accomplish anything. And those CDMs are going to drop back into the box. Look where they are here. I've got this perfect little space as the back 4 is dropping. The CDMs can't track back all the way. And part of that, to me, is because I pulled them out up here, they can't drop from this spot. There's already such a gap. Normally there's not that gap here, right? If you just, again, they're set in their default position. Because I drag them all around, Frankie's isolated, he steps up with Frankie. They don't really drop back correctly from here. It takes a while. If we wait, I mean, and they get so stationary here, right? This is just on how the AI works. But it's, again, because I force him to pull his players out of position, just that little wait. I'm using press proven. I'm using the left stick. I'm taking my time there. And that guy presses, and he pulls his own players out of position for me. So that's definitely something to take advantage of when you're playing against these opponents, and you notice that they are heavy to manually control their opponent, or control their players. Definitely worth keeping in mind of just going, he's going to grab somebody, and he's going to drag him at me, at my own player for me. If you keep, like, banging your head against the wall against these opponents, if you're just, I'm going to go forward into it, I'm going to go forward into it, I'm going to go forward into that press. That's what the press is designed particularly to defend against. I probably have the same thing here. I've almost got that little pass forward. Am I going to utilize it? No, because I've got better things to accomplish if I just hold on to it, right? Better things to accomplish. I've got it to a T. I can maybe try that little give and go. But Dumfries is in position enough. It's going to be tricky. It's a race at that point. But now he's pulled Dumfries so far out of position. Look at the additional, I've got like a 5-6 yard gap instead of a 2 or 3 yard gap. Now that's a poor decision from me. That was a poor little double tap tiki-taka pass there. But you again see what this lingering in the midfield, taking advantage of just the dribbling, the left stick, and then the passing play styles I've gotten all these players. You can see what that's accomplishing for me. Going to defend against a sprint boost there. Brilliant from the opponent. You know what it's like to when they start shaping up for that. I see he's aiming that way. Just make a tackle into it, and he runs right into me. But again, here, are we going to get forward? Are we going to press, go right into it? Nope, we're going to linger. And again, we're just watching as his team shifts and shifts around. He's pulled his fullback out. There's our run now. Why does he have to pull the fullback out? He's pulled Frankie all the way on over. There's a little gap here. Now he's going to have to control that CDM. He doesn't even have to do much. Whole team shifts around a little bit, though, because none of them are in shape correctly. Off we go. That's a little bit too forced, can get in between there, but again, you see the little gaps I'm able to create. There, you kind of figure when the opponent has a certain playstyle. I know that's Anthony. I know he's got the incisive plus, and he's got no other passing playstyle. I just figure that's probably going to be the opponent just trying to use that playstyle. Easy enough to guard against. Little limitation of the system. It's why I don't like playstyles. It makes things so limited. Now, this is actually an attack. I get to get... probably could try an incisive there instead of a tiki. But this is one where it's easy enough to kind of get forward. They're not set right. And this is actually something funny enough that I notice the deeper I am in my own build-up, the easier this is kind of becomes. Now, the whole idea throughout a lot of this match has been, the opponent is set in kind of here, and then the midfields, we'll do the triangle, we'll say. Midfield's like there, and the attack's here-ish. But of course, if the opponents, and I've covered this in videos before, but if you've got it like back with your goalkeeper, then this whole line actually has to shift up, right? So instead of their front three being like here, their front three is like here to put the press on against the goalkeeper, right? Which just means instead of this being the gap between their whole team, this is the gap, right? So you've just created more space for your own team to run into. So because the ball has ended up so deep, you've seen me a lot of the times where I'm getting the ball forward a little bit quicker. Or I'm just kind of holding the ball already with the CDMs because I'm using the back four, because I'm using the goalkeeper. It's actually easier, you see the gaps already. You see that Atik has forced the back line back. I'm not able to do that when the offside trap is happening. But the opponent's not trying to let this happen at all. This is just Atik's advanced forward run. He's on advanced forward support, but it's still happening. You see how he comes forward to support. Which opens up some gaps here. Because again, there's a little bit of space here because I went all the way back to the keeper. But again, you just see like, instead of the whole back four being at the halfway line and then no runs being allowed to be made, this is a situation where a run happens. One of the defense's lines drops and the others take a little bit longer to drop, and here's a little bit of a gap to work into. I do a little bit poorly there. We get lucky to get it back. Probably go ahead and... just a bad score from that. Not quite, but hey. You see the idea, right? That's the whole idea of this whole video. But as we're here, are we going to kind of get that run immediately to happen? No, we'll take advantage of, once again, the passing play styles. A quota out here, we'll use the pinged plus. Probably going to attack into Tiki. Not quite in that one, but again, you get the idea. Half the time that pass is going to work and you'll just go right into a goal. We've got it here. Excuse me. Got here with the back line. Again, we're just taking our time with Fred. Taking our time, making sure we recycle, as chat said a little bit ago. Making sure we shift around. Now, this is kind of using... A lot of this match I've used the depth. The verticality of the pitch. So just kind of going back this way and holding it back here. This one's the other idea. Same kind of concept, but we're just going side to side instead of back to front. But again, you can see some of the gap that's open. So because the players are in the right spot there, now I've got this gap on the other side. We'll have a little bit of space to move into. Nice little move. We'll hold up. Gonna take advantage of the passing play styles. Probably could have passed that with Insigne, actually. I'm not doing the best in some of these situations in the box. But you see not every, but most of the chances I'm having are resulting in the ability to get forward. Maybe I'm not scoring, maybe I'm not getting all the way into the box or anything for every single attack, although some of them definitely are. Poor first touch there from Ribery. But I'm able to hold on to the ball. I'm not giving my opponents, the opponent's giving the ball away to me a couple times in pretty easy situations. There's a pen, there we go. Opponent's giving the ball away a few too many times. None of my giveaways have been immediate counters, right? I've been set up enough to be able to defend pretty much. It's been an easy enough time as I'm defending my own transitions. And the opponent's giving a couple away to me. It makes the game a little bit easier. But you see that I'm also putting the opponent under a lot of pressure, and they're struggling with it. So I get the pen. Again, that's kind of the opponent tries to counter, fails. I get an easy enough counter off of that. That's a situation where you do see we'll cover this one more time. You do see the gaps opening up enough. The opponent's pulled the fullback out of position. Now I've got this kind of 3-on-5 technically, but I'm ahead of these two, so it's kind of a 3-on-3 in a way. Essentially is a 3-on-3 as the pass is that easy to make. Opponent makes a mistake with the attack. I mean, that's what it is. So because there's that gap open, because the opponent's pulled that player out of position, because the front line's sprinting so far forward, and it's kind of the same idea, right? As we were talking about the back line, where when they're here, and they drop back this way, and then you've got your CDMs, and they kind of slowly drop back. They're not sprinting in the same way, right? They don't have the same urgency. So what happens is this line's here, and this line's here, and then this line's gone back a little bit, but this line's gone back further. So you're just creating, they've got this 5-yard connection, and that becomes 7 yards, and that becomes 10 yards, right? You're just opening up this gap more and more. Same idea on offense, as your forwards are kind of sprinting. Where'd the tool go? Hello? Oh, I'm on some erase thing. That's weird. Excuse me. As the forwards are sprinting forward, they're disconnecting further and further from your midfielders as well. So you lose the ball here. I've now got a bigger gap here to kind of exploit against. You've stepped one player out to try to cover the additional space you have to cover now. You've now done it well. I took advantage of it. There we go. Easy enough counter. Now I've got space to attack in. All of which are all of which are kind of tactical ideas that the opponent's not taking advantage of. Now they're a strong enough opponent. Again, we're at 9-0. This isn't the easiest game. And they're able to get a goal back against us here. We'll cover this really quickly. Again, I'm not here to do my own defense too much, but this is me poorly overrunning with stones. I think if I just make that tackle correctly, we're fine. I guard the wing way too strongly. I just have to guard and you can give him the wing. It doesn't matter. Give him the wing. If he wants to sprint down, then we'll just deal with it later. No reason to cover the outside there. But hey. I mentioned, I think, a little bit earlier how the energy is a big deal. We're not going to cover the second half nearly as much. We will definitely go through it quicker. But you will see the second half is more of a struggle for me. And that is part of that energy idea. So for me, it's just this year, the first touches, the animation, I mean, we get our goal. It's just, that's how powerful the wing is, right? Okay, we'll go through this one. I forgot I scored so easy into this half. This is some decent play. You can tell I'm a little bit more aggressive here. I'm not doing the, get it to the CDM and sit and make them drag to me. And again, that's what we're going to talk about for most of this. I'm not going to get that tackle back. That's Tiki Plus. There you go. But again, the idea is here, I'm not quite showing off the same tactics, the same idea in the second half. The problem is, you just get tired in this game. I've spent like... Something about this makes me so tired. I actually, when my opponent's like playing decently, I keep my head up a little bit more. When I just have to defend against the speed boost and like they line up for the same speed boost every time, it just ends up so much like, I don't know, it's not that I get in my own hand. I don't get frustrated, I just get tired. This game makes me exhausted. Like I want to go take a nap after. So they're like spamming the same stuff every time. It's really boring. I've already played 7 4-2-1-3s this weekend. And I'm putting so much energy into my own build-up that is also making me tired. So it is worth saying, if you're going to play like this, kind of hard to get two halves out of it, at least for me. Maybe I'm getting older, who knows. But at least for me, it's kind of harder to get those two halves out of it. You're definitely putting a lot of energy into retaining possession, like predicting the animations that are going to happen, scanning the pitch, because you know which players are dragging out of position, what to take advantage of that, kind of trying to keep in mind where your own players are going to make runs too, so you know in the future what to be looking for. There's a lot to keep in mind with it, so it definitely is a little bit more exhausting. There's a reason I don't play like this all weekend. There's a reason there's only a couple games like this a weekend where I have to like really clutch up and try to focus, and then I get even more tired after those games. Last year, it wasn't the same. Even though the press was really strong last year, the dribbling was even stronger. That I could play like 20 games in a row last year and have no problem. But this year, like I play 7 in a row, and I'm just tired after it, man. So I do want to give that caveat. It is hard to play like this. It's definitely worth it, and if you want to improve your game, this is something to kind of take advantage of. The best idea is probably, don't do this every single attack. Now, if you're trying to take the most advantage and, definitely make sure you're never losing the ball and trying to get every single attack of yours to work, and you're like me where you don't just want to do the counterattacks and try to force that kind of stuff, you can also see the opponent doing a little better themselves at keeping hold of possession. You see there's some fruits of that labor happening for the opponent now. So the opponent might have really stepped it up the second half going, okay, I'm a couple goals down, we're going to have to focus up as well. Of course, they're still going to do the speed boost. But yeah, all of that to say, I'm not going to sit here and go like, this is the only way I play, this is the only way to play, this is like the best thing only. Definitely worthwhile to mix it up with some of your other attacks. Put these ideas where you just kind of keep it with the CDM, try to make them come to you and open up those gaps, especially against these opponents with a high press. This happens off set pieces. You can watch as the opponent's AI moves so much. I don't even know how that was a foul. But the opponent's so separated here. You can see like there's a big gap between all their players. They actually try to bring Henry back to close some of it. And there's such a big gap now. That's what it is. But anyway. If you want to get like a whole weekend out of playing like this, you're definitely just going to want to do it a couple times a half. You don't want to put that much focus in every single attack. You're just going to wear yourself out. But again, if you're really struggling in the match and this is something you can try to implement for the game, or if you're playing against these high-pressing opponents and you just can't figure out why it is every time you try to force the ball forward, you're really hindering yourself and you're not able to at all. Your own players aren't making the same runs as they do in most games, and you're just kind of, again, banging your head against that brick wall. This might be why. You've got to drag them a little bit more out of position, because your players aren't making the same runs against these high-press opponents as they do against, lower press. There's significantly more ease for the AI to run against no press opponents. Like, look at how good this move is. I'm waffling on about who knows what, and like this is the benefit of the press proven and the tiki-taka, right? I mean, this is even harder up here though. There's a reason I was kind of doing it with the CDMs and then taking advantage of the greater space forward. When you're trying to play this kind of like holding around possession and then just kind of wait for a gap to open up eventually, like it almost does here. It does and it doesn't here. But again, you kind of can do it further forward. It's just, this is taking even more energy and concentration for me. So I'm tending to do it with the CDMs rather than the full offensive line. You see eventually my concentration kind of runs out and I'll mess up there. So we're trying some things in the second half. Like we're kind of getting it to go, but I'm not getting quite the same success from it as I did in the first half either. The opponent's also attacking a little bit more against me, so I think like that's poor. This is where I'm looking forward, right? I get the ball in a situation, and instead of like turning back here, I move forward, and for one, I'm tunnel visioned, but I'm like, I've only literally got one option here. I'm closed down there. I don't trust the dribble. I think there's too many players around me. I'm not picking my head up and seeing, I could probably play that to Insigne, probably. Maybe take the advantage and the overlap to Ona next. Or I could just back heel this to Pedri, and again, we'll hold it back. You can see I'm getting tired. The first half, this would have gone back to Pedri. I would have thought nothing of it. Back to Pedri, we hold it, probably over to Fred, and then Insigne is going to be in like this massive pocket of space over there, right? We pulled them around, but no, I'm not taking advantage of moving them around or anything. You see that playstyle's kind of drops for me, so hey, it is what it is. Again, you're just kind of getting more tired as the game goes through. I do want to give that caveat of like, there's a reason the second half isn't quite the same. But it is what it is. I have also, I mean, I'm 4 goals up. I don't have to focus as much in this game, and actually it's kind of good I don't. If you spend all 90 minutes of all 15 games, you know, you're putting full focus into all 90 minutes, you're going to wear yourself out that way too. There are definitely little breaks you need to take in these games of, okay, I've got my 4-goal lead. I'll just go back to playing a more basic play style. If the opponent, you know, succeeds at a couple of those, defend that well once again. But if the opponent gets maybe 2 goals back here, I'll go, it's only a 2-goal lead now, maybe I'll focus a little bit more, try to eat off the clock some, just go back to that possessive style and make sure my attacks are A, more fruitful, and like I'm more guaranteed to get something out of them each time, or at least B, I'm not like giving the opponent an immediate counterattack every time. I'm making sure when I do lose the ball, it's in a more sustained area. But yeah, I think if you got any ideas from this video, I don't think there's anything else really to show through this one. It's kind of a poor pass. We like to get that back. That's a pass you didn't see me make at all in the first half. What should I be doing here with Fred if I want to do, you know, as I'm talking about, kind of take advantage of this? Have I pulled him out of position at all? I mean, he's moved a little bit, but he's still connected. This is a weird shape. This isn't the normal, you know, triangle that the 4-2-1-3 is in. But these are they're still connected. If I want to be smarter, maybe I like force him to bring this guy a little bit more out if he tries to close me down. I take a little step this way. Maybe call a teak short. We'll do that. Get it onto Neymar. Maybe he can do that kind of thing. But as I've not moved them around at all, so they're easier able to drop back on me. I put it all the way forward to a teak who's going to get closed down by the center backs. This is why I'm not advocating, like, that's not really the way to go. Because now we're moving forward and, like, there's some forward runs being made, but there's not really much accomplished here. Okay, we'll gain a little gap there as the opponents defended it really poorly. This is a bad example of what I'm talking about, but I think you get what I mean. If you're somebody who does this pass a lot, how many times does this really work? I mean, what are you doing from here? Because it's so easy with how powerful tackles are, especially from behind, to get this ball back off of you. And then as your striker kind of receives it and turns back, how many times is there actually really good runs being made? Sometimes you just kind of, like, you get this pass forward, and then the opponents will go, okay, that lane was open, but actually this one's going to move here, this one's going to move here, and this guy's going to move here, and we've now blocked off literally, we've got like a little circle around you. So it's open this way, but then it's not open back this way. This was a pass you didn't see me make in the entirety of the first half, right? CDM to striker, like, not from back there, right? That was something I wasn't doing. So again, you can see playstyle's changed a little in the second half. I want to be clear on that, but anything to have gotten out of this video would have happened in the first half. So the second half was more just kind of covering. Okay, here's some, not necessarily things not to do, but things that don't work for me, things that I want you to question in your own game. And if you're doing them when you're down, here's maybe something to change. But if you're doing them when you're up, you just kind of go back to playing the game like default. It's fine. At the end here, again, you can kind of see I'm just moving it forward. We're moving it forward. I'm not getting the CDMs at all. Not really using the fullback there. And we get forward and I just walk into where the pressure is. So once again, a little bit poor of a second half. Unless there's anything else cool to see in this one, we will call the video here. Hopefully you all did enjoy. This was a very important one to cover. This was actually a decent match to watch live. I won't link it in the description, but like if you want, this is live stream call. Can we find the rank ones again? Where match starts like 38 minutes in or something. I think we're back here. Yeah, 38-ish. If you want to watch it yourself, because I'm speaking live as we're talking about this too. I'm like talking about what I see in the match, particularly in that moment. And we're talking with what is that finesse shot? We're talking with chat a little bit about just, you know, what I'm looking to accomplish there, and they're trying to keep me cool, calm, and composed. They want me to get to 15, so thank you there, chat, for keeping my mentality up. But hey, yeah, we will call it there. Hopefully you all did enjoy. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. definitely do let me know in the comments if you are a fan of this one and are interested in seeing any more of these. But for now, take it easy, everybody. Good night.